Hello and welcome back to another VRChat Unity tutorial video. In this one I'm going to show you how to create special effects with emissions using the Poiyomi Toon Shaders. And that can be from scratch, or if you already have the shader set up for a avatar, I'll show you how to get that set up. So without further ado, let's get right into this. So first step, if you haven't gotten the Poiyomi Toon Shaders, all you have to do is just look up Poiyomi Toon Shaders, go here to GitHub, go over here to code, and then you'll download the zip and extract it in another folder. What you'll then want to do is, if you're setting up an avatar that is going to have certain emissions on the avatar, for example, for mine, I'm just going to set up the lines here so that they have emission glowing off of it, or changing colors. I'll show you later. There's a lot more you can do with it, but how you do that is you'll go over to the paint layer that you want to glow or have the emission on. And if you don't already have emission turned on for the materials, you are just going to go over here to texture set settings, go over here to channels, press a little plus, and go here to emissive. And there you will have an emissive layer. So what I'll do is I'll add that, and I will turn that up. I usually have it at white, but it can be whatever color, I'm sure. And then all you have to do is then go up to File, Export Textures. I'm going to turn off all these, go here, turn off the base layer, and I am just going to export all emissive layers. So if you have multiple other emissive layers, just select the emissive layer, and then you'll export. You're then going to go to Unity here. So I'm in Unity, I have my avatar set up here. If you don't know how to do that, I have some tutorial videos on how to set up certain avatars. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a shader here from scratch. So how I will do that is go here, right click, create, material, and you can name it whatever. And you're going to go up here to shader, click that, and you're going to go to Poiyomi and then Poiyomi Toon. That'll change it to a Poiyomi Toon shader. And then I'm going to go here to main, and what I'm going to do is just drag in my textures here, and then I can drag that onto my avatar here as well. As you can see, there's a lot more you have to set up, but for right now I'm just putting in my main textures. Of course, there are other things you can do with this as well. You can also go over to advanced here, you can have outlines, change all that, but I'm not going to get into that now because right now it's just for special effects. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go here to special effects, click on emission. As you can see, nothing is turned on yet. What we're going to do is bring this up. And then here you have a bunch of presets for the emission map. Now this is what will change between colors. So if you want it to be just bright white, you can, if it'll load, or you can have rainbow color. I don't know, you can have whatever colors you want. I'll show you here. You can create a new one, for example, and so I'll click the first frame here and you can change the color. So I'll have red near the beginning, for example, and if I wanted to create a new frame here, I'll maybe do that at 25% through, I'll change it to purple. Another one, 75%, that one will be blue, and then the last one will be maybe a green. There you go. And that'll create an emission map. And then what you'll do, you'll want to press replace base color. You'll then want to turn your emission strength up just a little. And as you're going to see here, it is going to color the whole entire model, and that is because we do not have an emission mask, and it instead is going to cover everything that we set that material to, or the shader. So as you can see, it doesn't do it on some of the other parts because you would have to apply the material to that, but for now we are just doing it on the main body. And as you can see, it covers the whole thing, which is probably not what you want to do. If you wanted to have just certain parts, like what we did earlier when we exported the emission layer or emission texture, we wanted to just cover those lines that I did. So how we do that is we're going to click and drag. Make sure you have it imported in here. So what you do is you just go to your folder, go to where you exported that texture, the emissive texture at, and just drag it in here. And then you're going to click and drag that into the emission mask. So as you can see, it's only coloring those lines and not the whole avatar. So now if we want it to actually scroll, and we'll have, so now if we want the colors to actually shift and move throughout the avatar, all we have to do is just enable hue shift, change the speed, we'll go 3, and we'll turn that up a little bit because it is kind of dark. But as you can see, it is changing colors. There you go. But if you don't want it to do that, you can just turn it off, and it'll stick with those colors we chose. Now if we want a center out emission glow, you can mess with that here. As you can see, it is now going from the center out throughout those lines using the same colors that we chose for the emission map. And you can mess around with these. There's flow speed, you can change that to 1 or 100. You can have some flashes, I don't know. You can do whatever you want with this. This is all changeable and everything. So, and I encourage you to mess around with this stuff too, just so you can get a better idea of it. You can turn on blinking emissions so it will blink, and if we wanted to, we can have it so it blinks on and off, and then we can have it so change that so it doesn't completely turn off, but it'll still kind of change how bright the emissive is on the avatar. We can have a scrolling emission as well. As you can see, just like that. And you can change everything in here as well. Pretty simple. You can also have other options here, like if you wanted glitter. But as you can see, it covers the whole avatar. So again, you will just go here to mask, and you will drag in that emissive texture that we did in Substance Painter, and now it'll only cover those lines. So very simple, very easy. This is not very hard at all. And go ahead and mess around with everything else. This is all a bunch of other options as well. I won't go over all of them, since there are quite a few, but they're all pretty easy to figure out once you get this to this part. But let's say maybe you had your regular textures that already have Poiyomi shaders. You would pretty much, all you have to do is usually it'll be locked, so you'll just press unlock shader, and then you'll go to advanced, and you can go to emissions, or I believe in simple there is emissions as well. And then you'll just do the same thing. But another thing too is a lot of times it'll have emission 2, but you'll be required to have the first emission as well. And emission 2 is just, it's the same thing, except now you can have 2 emissions. So you can have another color. Let's say we'll do that just because I don't want to create a whole nother one. And this will, well, it should cover the whole thing. And I got to turn the brightness up. So as you can see, it'll cover the whole thing, but instead we only want it to cover. I have another emissive texture as well that goes over some of the hair and stuff that I did a while back. So I'll have it so it does this. turn that up a little bit. We'll have a scrolling emission. No, actually we'll have a blinking emission for that. But we won't have it so it blinks all the way off. And we will change this to a 2. Well, maybe a 1.5 because it kind of gets bright. Along with a scrolling emission. There you go. And that is really it for the special effects. It's not that hard, doesn't take that long to set up. It's pretty easy. If you are using Krita or another program that uses like 2D painting, then there is another video for that. I didn't create it, it's by someone else. I'll have it linked. The video is by Dan. I don't know the guy, but he has a really good video explaining how to do that for 2D painting for avatars, and his goes over how to set it up as well. So I'd recommend you checking that out if you have the Otter or another avatar like the Tatum as well. That'll just use 2D painting, and that's very easy to set up as well. So let's say you maybe wanted to have just the normal material on it, but you want to have a toggle that will turn on emissions for the avatar. And that is very simple as well. So all you would have to do for that is I usually like to create a copy of the avatar. Go here, animation, and I'll create an animation here. What I'll do is I make sure that you have the normal material applied first, and then you'll record. You'll skip 1 frame ahead, go back to project, and you will then apply that other material or shader onto the avatar. And then you will stop. And then what you'll do is you'll go to that animation here, and you will toggle off loop time. And then I have another video on how to set up toggles for 3.0 avatars. That's a very simple thing to do. All you have to do is start where you go to set up the FX layer and the main menu and parameters. You just skip to that. So you don't have to set up another animation. You already have it set up here. That's all you have to do. And the rest is pretty easy. But with that out of the way, if you liked the video, consider liking, leaving a comment. And if you like this kind of content with tutorials, possibly consider subscribing. I also do some other random videos, but not a whole lot. With that out of the way, you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.